This is the Pentagon. 5 rings of reinforced concrete, 17.5 miles of corridors, 23,000 people making decisions about conflicts you won't hear about for months, if ever. The building was designed to reveal nothing. No windows facing inward, no public floor plans, walls that block every frequency. And yet, the Pentagon has been leaking its biggest secret for decades. A secret so obvious that journalists learned to watch for it. So reliable that it predicted the invasion of Kuwait. It's something the Pentagon does every single day. Something so human, they couldn't stop it even if they tried. And so simple that you can check it yourself, right now, on your phone. Inside these walls, everything follows patterns. How 23,000 people move through a building designed to get them lost. Where power sits, which offices, which floors, which entrances. Patterns the Soviets spent decades trying to decode. The first thing you notice is that every hallway looks exactly like the last one. The Pentagon is a maze. It's 5 buildings nested inside each other, concentric rings labeled A through E, connected by 10 corridors that radiate outward like spokes on a wheel. The A ring wraps around a 5-acre courtyard in the center. The E ring forms the outer wall. And somewhere between them, in rooms you'll never see, people are making decisions that won't hit the headlines for weeks. The E ring isn't just the outer ring, it's where power lives. The Secretary of Defense sits here on the E ring 3rd floor, near the river entrance. The Joint Chiefs are nearby. The service secretaries for Army, Navy, and Air Force all have E ring offices with windows. The closer you are to the river entrance, the more important you are. When journalists want to know if something's happening, they don't call press officers, they watch the E-ring. If the lights on the 3rd floor near the river entrance stay on past midnight, the Secretary of Defense is working. But not all the hallways here look the same. Each branch has claimed its own turf inside the Pentagon. Air Force hallways display aircraft models and Medal of Honor portraits. Navy corridors hold ship models, sea battle paintings, and retired flags. Army walls show generals, battle streamers, and captured weapons. Marines keep only commandants and combat photography. Priceless artifacts line the halls, passed daily by people rushing to meetings. The building also has its own helipad on the river entrance side. When the Secretary of Defense or a foreign dignitary needs to arrive without fighting beltway traffic, they land there. Helicopter traffic is another pattern worth watching. A Black Hawk touching down at 11 p.m. usually means someone important is coming in for a conversation that couldn't wait until morning. This whole design exists because of a World War II problem. Before Pearl Harbor, the War Department was scattered across 17 different buildings around Washington. A general trying to reach his own logistics officer might spend half a day tracking him down. Urgent messages crossed town by courier. When the military needed to coordinate the invasion of North Africa, they first had to coordinate a commute across the National Mall. So the Pentagon was built with one rule. No one inside should ever be more than 7 minutes from anyone else. The math actually works. You can walk between any 2 points in the building, even the farthest corners, in under 7 minutes. Cut through the courtyard, take the right corridor, and you're there. The largest low-rise office building in the world moves faster than most skyscrapers. But efficiency creates predictability. The same hallways that let a general find his staff in minutes also create routines. Watch any building long enough and you'll learn its rhythms. On a normal Tuesday, the South lot empties by 7 p.m. But some Tuesdays, the lot stays packed past midnight. The lights on the E-ring don't shut off. The Pentagon can encrypt what's said inside, but it can't hide when people are busy. And that pattern becomes a problem if you understand where to look. The E-ring 3rd floor. But what does E-ring even mean? Every office has a 5-character code. For example, 2E846 tells you floor 2, E-ring, corridor 4, bay 86. Learn it and you can find any room without asking. On paper, the system is bulletproof. The Secretary of Defense's office, the Joint Chiefs conference room, the supply closet on the B-ring 3rd floor, all of them reductible to a simple alphanumeric string. Learn it and you should be able to find any room without asking for directions. In practice, people still wander the D-ring for 20 minutes looking for a bathroom, just like a former president. In 1945, Dwight Eisenhower became Army Chief of Staff. This was the man who had just coordinated the largest amphibious invasion in human history, D-Day, Operation Overlord, the liberation of Western Europe. One afternoon in 1946, he went for a walk inside the Pentagon and got so turned around that he had to ask a group of secretaries how to get back to his own office. The Supreme Commander of Allied forces in Europe defeated by a building. This is because the code tells you where to go. It doesn't tell you how to get there. Every corridor looks identical. Every ring looks identical. The walls are the same color. The floors are the same material. The fluorescent lighting casting the same flat glow on everything. Your brain loses its landmarks. Suddenly, Corridor 4 feels exactly like Corridor 7, and you're not sure if you've been walking toward the E-ring or away from it. This is partly due to the fact that the building went up in 16 months during wartime. Standardized materials, standardized layouts. Steel was needed for ships and planes, so the Pentagon got reinforced concrete poured from Potomac River sand. The uniformity made construction faster and repairs simpler, but it also means your internal compass goes haywire the moment you step inside. The building's quirks don't help. Until 2011, there was exactly one passenger elevator in the entire Pentagon, and it was reserved for the Secretary of Defense. Everyone else used ramps. 6.5 million square feet of office space, 5 floors above ground, 2 below, and if you couldn't take the stairs, you walked the ramps. New employees are told it takes 2 weeks to stop getting lost. Veterans say longer. Some say you never figure it out. You just get better at faking it. There's an unwritten rule. If you look like you know where you're going, people assume that you do. So the Pentagon made sure you never have to find your way out. The building has its own zip code, 20301. The Pentagon Police handles security. The Pentagon Fire Department handles emergencies. Both exist because calling Arlington County every time something happens would defeat the purpose of being self-contained. The building even has its own metro station, one of the busiest in the Washington system. More than 10,000 people pass through it on a normal weekday. During a crisis, it can be sealed. Inside the concourse, you'll find a bank, a post office, a dry cleaner, a barber shop, a medical clinic, a dental office, a chapel, and a fitness center. More than 30 dining facilities serve an estimated 25,000 meals a day. Subway, Dunkin', Starbucks, you name it. If you work here, you can go weeks without leaving the building. Keeping 23,000 people fed and supplied requires its own logistics operation. Loading docks on the building's outer edges receive deliveries around the clock. Supply trucks, food service vehicles, mail carriers, they all follow scheduled routes that rarely change. The predictability is intentional. Security needs to know what's coming and when. But predictability cuts both ways. When the delivery schedule changes, when trucks start arriving at odd hours, when the loading docks stay active past midnight, that's another signal the building is operating in crisis mode. And the Pentagon isn't the only one watching these patterns. When a crisis develops, the Pentagon doesn't send people home, it keeps them. The concourse stays open late, cots appear in offices, coffee runs become a logistical operation. The building transforms from a workplace into a shelter, with thousands of people working through the night on problems they can't discuss with anyone outside these walls. The infrastructure exists to sustain them indefinitely. During prolonged operations, some staff won't leave for days. They'll shower at the fitness center, grab meals between briefings, and sleep in 3-hour shifts on whatever flat surface is available. The Soviets figured out the containment part during the Cold War. They watched the Pentagon constantly. Satellite imagery, signals intelligence, anything they could collect. And they noticed something strange. Every day, around the same time, large groups of uniformed officers converged on a small structure in the exact center of the courtyard. They disappear inside, stay for a while, and then leave. Moscow concluded this must be the entrance to an underground command bunker, the central nervous system of American military power, hidden in plain sight. According to Pentagon tour guides who still tell this story today, the Soviets allegedly kept at least 2 nuclear missiles aimed at the structure at all times. The most heavily targeted location in the Pentagon courtyard? It sold hot dogs for $2.50. 2 nuclear warheads for a hot dog stand. Here's where things get interesting. Pentagon employees left something out of that story, though. The Soviets were wrong about the hot dog stand. They weren't wrong that there were rooms worth targeting. These rooms weren't in the courtyard. They were deeper inside, past security checkpoints most Pentagon employees will never clear, behind doors that look exactly like every other door. They also weren't wrong about the underground spaces. The Pentagon has 2 floors below ground level. The basement houses mechanical systems, storage, additional office space, and infrastructure most employees never see. During construction, plans existed for a deep underground command center far beneath the building, a bunker that could survive a direct nuclear hit. It was never built, but the subterranean levels that do exist contain enough classified facilities that the Soviets' instinct about underground bunkers wasn't entirely paranoid. They just looked in the wrong spot. Certain sections of the Pentagon are shielded against electronic surveillance. The walls contain layers of material designed to block radio waves, preventing foreign satellites or nearby listening posts from picking up classified conversations. One such place is the National Military Command Center, and it sits in the Joint Staff Area, occupying roughly 30,000 square feet of secure space. More than 300 people work here around the clock, 365 days a year. No holidays, no weekends. The mission never pauses because threats don't stop. The NMCC keeps the President and Secretary of Defense informed about everything happening to American military forces worldwide. A submarine surfaces near a strike group. A plane crosses into contested airspace. An enemy armored division moves toward a border that's been quiet for 6 months. The watch officers here know about all of it. Screens display data feeds from every theater of operations. Secure terminals connect to combatant commands on 6 continents. The nuclear codes live here too. If the president ever orders the use of nuclear weapons, the NMCC generates the emergency action messages, the coded transmissions that go out to missile silos, submarines, and bomber crews. The verification, the authentication, the launch authority. All of it flows through this room. The facility operates on multiple classification levels simultaneously. Some information is merely confidential, some top secret. Some info is compartmented so tightly that even generals in the building don't have access. The American end of the Moscow-Washington hotline sits here as well, the secure link established after the Cuban Missile Crisis, so that the 2 nations most capable of ending civilization could at least talk to each other first. But when those talks fizzle out, that's where this room comes in. When you imagine the War Room, you probably are picturing the War Room from Dr. Strangelove, a cavernous space with wall-sized screens, generals shouting over each other while technicians scramble at their stations. The tank looks more like a conference room at a regional law firm. Long table, chairs, some wood paneling. You'd walk right past it if you didn't know what you were looking for. The rooms that matter are designed to be forgettable. The power isn't in the furniture. The tank is the Joint Chiefs of Staff conference room, a sensitive compartmented information facility designed for the most highly classified discussions the military conducts. The walls are shielded against electronic surveillance. No signals get in or out. When the chairman of the Joint Chiefs needs to discuss war plans, contingency operations, or actions that haven't been announced to the public, this is where it happens. When the Joint Chiefs meet, there's a protocol. Phones get collected at the door. No aides allowed inside. No note-takers except a designated recorder. Just the chairman, the vice chairman, and the chiefs of the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, Space Force, and the National Guard Bureau. 8 people in a room deciding things that won't be classified for decades, if ever. The room has no windows. The lighting is constant. There's no way to tell from inside whether it's noon or midnight. The chiefs sit in assigned seats, the chairman at the head. When a decision needs to be made, the chairman polls the room. Each chief speaks in turn. Disagreements are expected and recorded. The goal isn't consensus, it's clarity. The president needs to know what his military advisors actually think, including where they don't agree. After the meeting ends, the chiefs leave. The notes stay. Whatever was discussed in the tank remains in the tank until someone with proper authority decides otherwise. Most of it never leaves. Most Pentagon employees will work their entire careers without seeing either of these spaces. They'll walk the same hallways, pass the same corridors, and never know what's on the other side. The building has concentric rings of architecture and concentric rings of secrecy. The deeper you go, the fewer people who follow. And while you can hide the rooms, classify the conversations, and encrypt the communications, there's one thing the Pentagon can't control. On August 1st of 1990, a Domino's franchise owner in Washington named Frank Meeks noticed something unusual. The CIA had placed an order for 21 pizzas, a single order, late at night. The next morning, something big happened. Meeks had been running pizza franchises near government buildings for years. He knew the normal patterns: steady lunch orders, the occasional late meeting, predictable Friday slowdowns. But every now and then, the pattern broke. Orders spiked at strange hours. Delivery drivers reported unusual activity at the gates, tighter security, vehicles they didn't recognize. And within 24 to 48 hours, something would hit the news. He started paying attention. In October 1983, deliveries to the Pentagon spiked the night before the invasion of Grenada. In December 1989, orders doubled the night before U.S. forces went into Panama. During the build-up to Desert Storm in 1991, Meeks watched his drivers work overtime supplying government facilities across the city. He started calling it the Pizza Index. The name stuck. The math isn't complicated. A crisis means extended hours. Nobody goes home. The concourse closes eventually, and vending machines only go so far. So someone picks up a phone and orders pizza. Then someone else does. Then a whole floor does. And suddenly, Domino's drivers are driving up to security checkpoints at 2 a.m., carrying what amounts to be an unclassified signal that something is happening inside. The press soon heard about it. Meeks talked to the Los Angeles Times. The Washington press corps started watching the pizza. Wolf Blitzer, who spent years as CNN's Pentagon correspondent, reportedly told colleagues to monitor delivery patterns. If pizza delivery spiked, start making calls. Meeks passed away in 2004, but the observation outlived him. Today, an account on X called the Pentagon Pizza Report tracks Google Maps activity at pizzerias within 2 miles of the building. When foot traffic spikes at unusual hours, not just Domino's, but Papa John's, local spots, anywhere within delivery range, they post alerts. The whole thing has become a crowdsourced early warning system. Other accounts have emerged tracking similar patterns near the CIA in Langley and the White House. The methodology has spread beyond pizza to include late-night rideshare activity, energy usage patterns, anything that might signal unusual operations. In June of 2025, the account flagged surges at several pizza locations around 7 p.m. Hours later, Israel launched strikes against Iran. Later that month, unusual activity at a Papa John's preceded the announcement of U.S. strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities. The Pentagon denies the theory. In 2025, the Department of Defense pointed out that the building has numerous internal food vendors available to late-night workers. True enough, but the concourse closes. The internal options eventually run out. And when you've been working for 16 hours and you're about to work 16 more, sometimes you just want a pizza. Bye for now.